Welcome to Roofing Road Trips, the podcast that takes you on a thrilling journey across the world of roofing. From fascinating interviews with roofing experts to on-the-road adventures, we'll uncover the stories, innovations, and challenges that shape the rooftops over our heads. So fasten your seatbelts and join us as we embark on this exciting roofing road trip.
Hello and welcome to another Roofing Road Trips from Roofers Coffee Shop. My name is Heidi Ellsworth and we are here today to talk about what is cool. And I'm talking cool roofing. I mean, there's nothing more important. We've talked about this for so long, and really, as an industry and as a society, we have come to understand just how important cool roofing, resiliency, performance, all of those things are. So we have brought the experts today to talk to us about cool roofing and metal, and that is Melissa Dunson with Central States and Audrey McGarrell with CRRC, Cool Roofing Ratings Council. There we go. That's a mouthful. But I am just so excited to have both of you ladies. Welcome.
Hey, thanks so much for having us.
Thanks, Heidi.
Oh, this is so great. So let's start off first with some introductions. So Melissa, if you could start us off, if you could introduce yourself and tell us about Central States.
Yeah, I'm Melissa Dunson. I'm the Director of Marketing for Central States Manufacturing. We are the largest manufacturer of metal building products in the country, which is shocking because you may have never heard of us. So the company's been around for more than 36 years and making a variety of metal roofing panels, siding, walls, full building packages, and steel frames. So we do a little bit of it all, including even roll-up doors now. So it's an exciting time to be in metal. So I've been on a lot of podcasts lately just talking about kind of the moment that metal's having. But it's been a wild ride, and it's an exciting time to be in roofing and in metal.
It is so exciting. And I have to tell you, I think a lot of people know who Central States are. At least you have really brought it to the forefront, you and your team, over the last year. It's pretty exciting.
They're worth knowing. They are a great 100% employee-owned company that is just really, really solid with customers and quality products.
It is. It's so exciting. And Audrey, if you could introduce yourself and tell us about your association.
Yeah, thank you. So my name is Audrey McGarrell. I am the Communications Manager for the Cool Roof Rating Council, or CRRC. You may have heard of us. You probably also have not. But we are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, which basically means that we are an independent organization with a mandate to provide a public service. And that service that we provide is product ratings for both roofing and exterior wall materials for how well they reflect sunlight and emit heat that is absorbed in an effort to help reduce the solar heat gain of a building and mitigate the urban heat island effect, and really a whole host of other impacts that reflective building materials can have. We operate these free product rating programs. You can visit our directories on coolroofs.org. And we're also a member-based organization. So manufacturers, roofing contractors, architects, laboratories, really the list is kind of endless of who makes up our membership, as well as why they get involved with our organization. So I'll leave it at that for now.
Well, and the thing is that it's so important. And the manufacturers like Central States, distributors, consultants, architects, everyone is realizing it. You guys have an amazing meeting every year. I know this last year was in New Orleans, where you bring all of these folks together to really talk through the importance of cool roofs and how it's basically going to help us with climate change. As you bringing all of them together, I would love for you to kind of talk, Audrey, just a little bit about what they're talking about and what is a cool roof and why should contractors care? Because I think a lot of times the contractors just are not aware of how this is all working, but you have a large group behind this making it happen.
Absolutely. So kind of at the simplest level, a cool roof is one that efficiently reflects sunlight and emits heat that is absorbed. Looking at kind of the technical meaning behind that, there's two properties, solar reflectance and thermal emittance. Both of these properties are measured on a scale from 0 to 1, with 1 meaning 100% reflective or 100% emissive. And the goal here is to reflect as much solar energy as practical off of the roof surface so that it's not absorbed as heat into the building. This helps, like I mentioned earlier, to reduce the solar heat gain. So fundamentally keep the inside of the building cooler, which can have a lot of knock-on effects, ranging from reducing demand for air conditioning, which can have sort of a chain reaction as far as reducing your carbon footprint, reducing your energy bill is concerned, and then also just increasing resilience to extreme heat. If you don't have air conditioning, or perhaps your AC is broken, or you're suffering a power outage, having more reflective roofing as well as exterior wall materials on a home or a business can really go a long way as far as keeping the building more livable and comfortable during periods of high heat. I would also add that as far as, why should contractors care? This is, it's a real benefit that roofing contractors can provide to their customers or educate their customers on. Oftentimes, everybody wants a cooler, more comfortable home in the summer, right? Here in the United States. And everybody's looking for ways to reduce their energy bills. The impacts on energy use certainly vary depending on climate, the building orientation, how much insulation. There's always going to be a lot of factors, and it is building specific. But really, it's low-hanging fruit in terms of a simple change that a homeowner can make, and having contractors be educated and confident to answer questions about cool roofing or to share information. I think that's really important to help kind of trickle down that information where not just researchers or manufacturers might be talking about this, but your everyday homeowner as well.
Yeah, it's so true. My neighbor is looking at putting on a metal roof, Melissa, and she is looking at it and she's kind of like looking at all the differences. And I said, well, you need to think about durability. You need to think about cool roofs. You need to think about all of these things. So as Central States is getting out there and really working with the CRRC and telling the story, what are you hearing from your contractors and how this kind of information is differentiating them to get that sell?
Yeah. First of all, I'll just say, metal roofing and cool roofing, they're such a wonderful combination because lots of different roofing materials, tile, asphalt, can get a cool roof rating, right? Mm-hmm. It can have reflectivity. It just so happens that metal, because of its innate properties, it's a natural, right? So without having to do really special stuff, it has really high reflectance and emittance rates. And so then you add special paints to it, and it's even more so. So it's a natural fit if people are looking for a cool roof. So one of the things that we hear from contractors is as sustainability, as sort of green value systems move throughout the U.S., there's various different reasons people might want more information on a cool roof. So some of it is driven by municipalities or even states where there are requirements, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, and that's a thing that people should be aware of. Then there's sort of the global, do good, be a good citizen of the earth, where we actually are saying, hey, if we have enough buildings that have cool roofs, reflected walls and roofs, it actually can lower those heat islands, right? And actually can make it better, not just for that one person, but for whole cities and for the earth in general. And then you drive it all the way down to the individual, and it's like, well, what's in it for me? And contractors should know about this, because what's in it for me is I was just reading a report from the beginning of the year, and I think last year was like the hottest year on record. It set a bunch of records, and then the last 10 years have all set records for heat and cooling. And actually, we picked a great time to have this podcast, because it's like, I think it was like 108 heat index here in the Midwest today. No kidding.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so it's very warm here. I don't know where you're located, Audrey, but it's hot where we are right now. And so cool.
You're probably heading your way. Yeah,
exactly. And so, right, my air conditioning is running all the time. And as a homeowner, anything when the heat index is 108 outside that you can do to keep less of that heat from coming into my house and causing me to have to continue to cool my interior is a big deal. I kind of think about it in the same way that people talk about impact ratings, right? It's like, why do people care about it? Well, there's the actual, like, I don't want to replace my roof. And then there's the other part of it that's an actual cost savings because I'm getting an insurance discount. So I think if contractors will think about it in a similar way, that they've been educating themselves on impact ratings and some of those performance ratings where there is a cost benefit to the homeowner, and think about it in a similar way, they'll understand how to market something like a cool roof with a good rating to a homeowner and help them to see the value of it, if that makes sense.
No, it makes total sense. I think it's so important. I think really your savvy contractors out there are getting this and they're understanding how to do it. But I think it's also really important that they kind of understand some of these ratings. So, Audrey, I would love it if you would walk us through how the CRRC rates roofing products and how contractors can kind of understand that and use that for their customers.
Definitely. So, one of the first things I want to mention, which, we've been talking about ratings, that is an important distinction because the CRRC does not certify products. We rate products. And that is an important thing to be aware of because you can visit our rated roof products directory and you can find materials with a very, very low solar reflectance all the way up to an extremely high solar reflectance. So we will test and rate through our program any material that wants to get a CRRC rating. And it is up to the individual jurisdiction or utility if they're developing a rebate program, or contractor if they are looking at the products that they install for folks, to determine what is a cool roof in your climate, in your jurisdiction, where dealing with what kind of materials are available in your area. So we provide that data, and it's up to the individual to kind of interpret it. And so to go through what is the data we provide and how do we get it, we, like I mentioned, are a completely independent third party, and we work with accredited independent testing laboratories. We have a list of numerous approved laboratories who perform the testing for our ratings. So any manufacturer of a roofing or exterior wall material that wants to get a rating will come to us. They will become a licensee in our program, which is, just the paperwork side of things. And then they will work with one of those laboratories to get their product tested for solar reflectance and thermal emittance. And then that data is submitted to the CRRC. We vet that, review it, make sure that it is accurate given all the information that we know about the product. And then we publish that on our directory. And the process does not end there because those ratings are for a brand new product that has never seen the outdoors. So what happens is those, what we call initial ratings, get published. They can be referenced for compliance with various codes or to earn a rebate, something like that. Meanwhile, those product specimens are sent to 3 different test farms across the United States, where they are mounted and exposed to the natural elements and left untouched for 3 years. Once those products have completed their 3 years of weathering, they go back to the laboratory, they're tested for what we call aged ratings, and that is what really shows us how that product is going to perform over time. So when you think about if you put a brand new product on your roof, it's not going to perform or look exactly the same as it did when it was brand new. So that's that extra level of assurance that we provide of this is what you can expect to see once the product has been exposed to the elements, has been naturally weathered and soiled in the real world. So as far as if a contractor was looking for a CRRC rated product, there are products out there that use a CRRC label, which actually shows the rated values right there on the product literature or packaging. This is required in some jurisdictions, like in the state of California. So folks working in that area are probably very familiar with the CRRC label. However, they are not required to use the label by us. They are required in certain jurisdictions, but there's a lot of products out there where if you search the company name or the product line, it will show up on the directory and you can find that data. So it's kind of important to know, just because the package maybe doesn't have a label on it, that doesn't necessarily mean you can't find that data.
Right. Right. So where does metal fit in on this, Melissa? I mean, when it comes to the ratings, and also I love, the initial and the aged, how does metal work with all that?
Yeah, so I love that they do age testing because, right, people don't want to have their roof for like 3 years, right, and have to replace it. And so that kind of data is incredibly meaningful. There's a number of organizations right now that are testing other things as well, impact ratings of age shingles to see those kinds of things, because at some, to your point, Audrey, how it performs on day one is super important, but it's equally important how it performs on year 10. And one of the things that we found about metal, it's one of the reasons that metal has such long warranties on the material, is it performs year after year after year after year in a very strong way. So it's incredibly durable, incredibly reflective, and so it doesn't have faced some of the same levels and types of degradation that some other building products do. Just again, by sheer the material, the base elements of the material, especially if you're talking about unpainted metal, it has certain elements to it that are highly reflectant. And also, I'll say paint technology. We work with Sherwin-Williams, a fantastic company, globally known. It's just at one of their testing facilities, looking at, as they're testing their paint for what we're talking about, right? How is it performing against sun, against the elements, day after day after year after year? And they've created some amazing products that really maintain their functionality over the long term. So it's metal is a great option if people are looking for a cool roof. I have a question for Audrey, though. So it's interesting. So I spent a lot of my career in shingles, right, before coming to metal. And so it's interesting on this side of the business that we get a lot of questions about Energy Star, right, which is something that really I dealt with a lot, right, in my previous lifetime. And it's been interesting to see how CRRC has kind of stepped into this void. It's not the same thing, but to try to fill this gap that people may not even be aware that the Energy Star rating for specifically roofing products went away several years ago. Lots of people aren't aware. We get questions about it as a manufacturer all the time, but been really loving, as we've been working with CRRC, to see how you guys are stepping in that gap to kind of try and fill the educational piece of it. And that third party security, right? That feeling of like confidence in a product. And so will you talk about that a little bit, what you guys are doing?
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up, because same here. We get questions all the time about, is this product Energy Star certified? And well, the answer is no for all products, because Energy Star for roofing was sunset several years ago. And it's taking a little while for kind of on the marketing side, companies to catch up with that in their product literature, as well as various codes, programs, financial incentives that may have referenced Energy Star in the past. There is a little bit of a gap there in terms of there's still demand for Energy Star certified products, but they're no longer technically certified. So where the CRRC really kind of can step in and be an alternative there. Like I said, we will rate a product no matter how high or how low the solar reflectance is. So you can't just look at a CRRC rating and say, well, it's not Energy Star, but it's CRRC, so it's fine. What you can do is you can filter our directory for whatever that Energy Star threshold used to be, and say, hey, Energy Star doesn't exist anymore. Here's all these products that are rated by a third party that would comply should Energy Star still exist. Can we use this to comply? And we're really trying to spread the word to program developers and folks kind of in that arena about the fact that Energy Star is no more for roofing, but that there is another alternative, which is CRRC data. So really, it's all about kind of spreading the word, making people aware that Energy Star for roofing is no more, but that there is still a really robust collection of data for the same products or even more products, other different products than may have had Energy Star ratings in the past.
And we saw it everywhere. We saw Energy Star, but I remember when they sunsetted it. And you guys have, to Melissa's point, you stepped in brilliantly to really fill that need for people to have the right data and information. So I'm kind of curious, Melissa, as a manufacturer, when you are really looking at designing and developing cool roof systems, and you just said you were back at Sherwin-Williams doing testing, which is so cool. I love that stuff. How what's the process there to get cool roofs? And talk to us about some of the colors. Is it all the colors? How does that work?
Yeah, and Audrey will probably jump in here too, but people think that the only cool roofs could be light colors, and that's simply not true, which I think is a misnomer. For some roofing materials, it is easier for lighter colors to get higher solar reflectance and emittance rates, right? So for some roof materials, but there's lots of different ways to get reflectance, right? It's not just in light colors. It can be in reflective granules. It can be in the reflective nature of metal in them itself. It can be in stuff that they put in the paint. So you can have a cool roof that is a black roof. And that I think is something people think, if I'm going to have a cool roof, I have to go with a light color, which is a loss to some people, because I think we're seeing in roofing, Heidi, that dark colors have really been coming back for the last several years. And black is very popular. It was very traditional. It went way more brown and gray for a few years, but black is very, very popular again for roofing of all different roofing types.
You could almost say black is cool.
Black is back.
Black is back and it's cool. So yes, but yeah, that's what we're seeing all the time is the black roofs that are out there, and the fact that they can put it into the paint, the reflectance to make that a cool roof is amazing.
Yeah, and on the metal side, it's funny you say, how do you develop the stuff? Our products, metal roofing is largely reflected without really having to try particularly hard. There are paint technologies and various things that you can do, but we have the benefit of metal, just the innate nature of it, of how reflected it is, and so that's a benefit. But you can have a black cool roof, guys. This is a real thing, and if your homeowner is boohooing because they don't want white shingles, there are other options.
I want to add to something that is important to realize is that cool, in quotes, is a sliding scale, right? Just if you're like thinking it's literally like black and white, choosing a material that's a little bit more reflective, every increment of solar reflectance from that 0 to that 1 makes a difference. So maybe you're aesthetically not going to choose a completely white roof on a home. But that doesn't mean that you have to go as solar absorptive as possible. There's a whole spectrum of choices, and that every little incremental bit of increasing that solar reflectance just a little bit is important. So, that's something to remember too.
And I think, really working with if you're a homeowner or a building owner, working with your contractor, working with your manufacturers, and actually taking the time to go on the CRRC website and directory and looking at it for yourself. That's the thing that we find, of course we have Roofers Coffee Shop, Metal Coffee Shop, but we have our AskARoofer site where we have homeowners and building owners asking these questions all the time. And I think it's important, the more transparent contractors can be in how this works and what it can do to lower their costs, to lower their energy costs, and also just help the overall community is huge. So I guess one of my questions is, as they are selecting, and Melissa, I'm going to take this back to you. As you are working with your contractors out there, and you have some amazing metal contractors who are doing metal roofing, metal siding, metal buildings, because it's not just the roof, right? I know we're talking roof here, but it's overall with what's going on with the coil coatings.
Even though CRRC is not just cool roofs anymore, they have the whole cool wall thing going on.
Yeah. And I think that's so important because you really need it across the board. It's a whole building envelope. So what are you hearing from your contractors as they're selecting and installing metal roofs, looking for that cool, along with talking about the long-term performance, the durability, the resiliency? All of these buzzwords are so important. And I say buzzwords, they're important words because it's what the consumers are looking for.
Yeah. I think it goes to, how do I say this? To contractors becoming more savvy, right? So understanding what commercial property owners, number one, will care about, right? And they have true longevity and energy saving concerns, right? That and understanding that perspective can help them sell a product that they're going to install that could even be on the front end, maybe a little higher, but being able to show that payback and the long term benefit, and then conversely with residential homeowners, understanding the things that they care about on just a daily basis. I mean, depending on the reflectivity of it, I mean, some energy saving cool roofs can save, I mean, I've read some estimates as much as like 20% on the energy savings of the cooling costs of it, which is huge, especially if you live in a part of the country where it is significantly hot during a significant part of the day, which I do think is why you see more cool roofs or more interest in it in places like Texas, Arizona, California, Florida. And it's interesting, those are all areas of the country where metal roofing is also very popular. And it really goes hand in hand. People who are looking for that kind of weatherability that we've talked about, wind, hail, hurricanes, but then also the longevity, right? It just lasts a really long time. Most of them come with a 40-year warranty at least, if not lifetime. But then also having this other added benefit of the cool roof. So a lot of it has to do with contractors becoming savvy, becoming aware of all of the value props of a cool roof and of a metal cool roof, and being able to offer that to the specific customer. The other thing I say is that for a lot of our history, metal contractors have been, a lot of it's been commercial or agricultural, and understanding how to sell the benefits of metal, and including cool elements to that, I think is something new, that obviously residential homeowners are more interested in. So I think as metal, we've talked about this so many times, Heidi, as metal continuing to move into uh, residential, sort of that market, which everybody's saying that's the big push, right? That's going to be the growth of residential metal roofing. As that continues to grow in that way, it will be important for contractors, if they want to sell to residential homeowners, right? That they understand the value of that and the benefit that they have that they've maybe not even sold in the past in commercial or agricultural spaces, but that is a lot of times a built in, because we work with Audrey, other manufacturers do as well with the CRRC to get those products rated, and they can go there and find that and then use that as a selling technique, and maybe even overcome some objections when maybe they're saying, hey, but this is slightly more expensive than some other building materials. It's like, yes, but you have this and this and this and this. And in the end, it actually, people can see the value in it and say, yeah, this is actually a much better option for me.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, I think that's so true. And what we're seeing is we're seeing homeowners, building owners, the consumers are so much, they're doing all this research. So they are educated online, and contractors need to be there to answer those questions. So, Audrey, how do the contractors really work with CRRC to learn more, to get involved? Kind of what's that big picture look like?
Yeah. So, like I mentioned, kind of at the top of the show, we, the CRRC, are a member-based organization, and we have many, many members who are contractors. And our membership fee for contractors for the entire year is $60 a year. So it's very, very low, very low barrier to entry. And really what you get, one of the things I want to highlight is that we do have a special member logo that all of our members, but in particular, I know contractor members like to display in their marketing materials, in their email signatures, wherever that might be, somewhere that they want to make note. On the one hand, it shows that, cool roofing is something they're knowledgeable about and that they care about. And again, just kind of projecting that general, a way of showing that they care about cool roofing and what that means when it comes to improving resilience to heat, reducing energy use, all of those things. But of course, there's much more than just the optics of being a member. We have dozens of educational resources on our website, and those are completely free, whether you're a member or not. Anybody can find those. But I would highly encourage anybody listening who really wants to learn more about what cool surfaces are all about, to visit the resources section of coolroofs.org. We have an educational resource we just put out earlier this year all about the Energy Star sunset and about kind of that void that the CRRC can help fill. Going back to what Melissa said, I know that's a really hot topic for a lot of people. And we also have databases of codes, programs, standards, as well as financial incentives by state and city in the US. So I would highly recommend that contractors take a look at the financial incentives section, because you may be surprised to see that there are utilities or local government agencies in the area that you work that offer some sort of rebate or financial incentive that you might not be aware of, that you can then inform your customers about. Melissa mentioned that there can be price differentials when it comes to the type of material or even the type of cooling technology within the material. So that can be a really great way to say, hey, you might be investing more upfront, but not only are you going to get a long-term benefit, but you can also recoup some of that with these programs that are out there. So that's why I recommend they start. We are also an open book when it comes to folks contacting us. People can reach out to us at info@coolroofs.org. If you have specific questions, our phone numbers are also all on our website. So don't hesitate to reach out if you want to learn more.
It really can differentiate your business. That's what it comes down.
About the education that they offer. I mean, and they are, right, and I'm over here talking about metal. They are really material agnostic. They care about cool roofing of all different kinds and cool walls. And so you'll get lots of good information about all different materials, make your own choices, but they send out by email, by social, on your website. You guys do a tremendous job of providing, and actually the Energy Star piece that you guys shared, we shared across all of our platforms because it was such an educational piece. And it's something, I think we actually have it on our website right now. We're linking to it because it's a question that we get asked a lot. And so thank you for providing such excellent education about cool roofs to the whole industry. It's invaluable.
Well, thank you so much.
That is great. And Melissa, I was going to say, any last words, but you just really summed it up perfect there. So that was awesome. I love it. Well, ladies, thank you so much. Great information, great advice. I would recommend for everyone out there, you visit the directories on Roofers Coffee Shop for CRRC and for Central States. These are both great partners. We have all the information out there. We have the Energy Star information. Everything you could want is going to be there, and it'll get you directly to them. So if you didn't take notes as you were listening to this, you can find it all right there on Roofers Coffee Shop and Metal Coffee Shop, of course. Ladies, again, last time, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, Heidi.
Thank you. And thank you all for listening. Please check out all of our podcasts under the RLW initiative, either on your favorite podcast channels. Be sure to subscribe and set those notifications, or of course, on the website at any time. We will be seeing you next time on Roofing Road Trips.
If you've enjoyed the ride, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and join us on every roofing adventure. Make sure to visit RoofersCoffeeShop.com to learn more. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next Roofing Road Trip.